Welcome to Eggcellent Adventures, where I, your host Reec Swiney, take a step away from my duties as a radio and TV personality and give you a first-hand look at my other love, backyard chickens and homesteading. Take a listen to conversations I have with others who are in farming, homesteading, and connected brands. And some of those conversations go a little like this.
She does say I have too much, though. She says I have too many, but I don't think I have enough.
The chicken math started mathing.
Yep, it's never ending.
I only started with like 4 laying hens. Now I have over 100 chickens and geese and quail.
So the first question we ask everybody that comes on to the Eggcellent Adventures, what was your old cluck moment?
The first thing that comes to mind is when the first time I got locked inside one of my own chicken coops.
We talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Now let's see who's on this episode of Eggcellent Adventures. What's up, everybody? Reece is checking back in from Media Campus West for another Eggcellent Adventures. We got my guy Mink on the line. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Man, it's good to have you on the show. I know we connected through social media not too long ago, right. And you started showing your journey with your chickens and all your agricultural and things like that. So we wanted to kind of get down to the nitty gritty, hear your story and get some more insight on what you got going on. But it's welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I saw you online, and I really like what you do online, and I like the approach that you take to everything, because you give a lot of comedy to it, and I love that. So I like when people put personality into their stuff, man. So you definitely doing it.
Appreciate that, my brother. All right, let's talk about it. Our first question is, what was your old cluck moment? What was a moment that you were like, I'm in the chicken game or in the agriculture game now?
Okay, so the agriculture, what hit me was I started growing some of the devil's lettuce, if you might say.
It's legal now. So it's all right.
It's a family show, so I still be mindful. It's a family show.
Right.
But I started doing that, and it really hit me just because, the taxes was too high for me. I was like, wait, I'm a baller on the budget, player. I keep paying these taxes. So I started learning how to grow that. And once I started learning how to grow that, I realized I was putting a lot of knowledge and a lot of time into gaining knowledge just for growing, period. So then I figured, well, hey, if you can grow for like your habit, why not grow for your survival, right? So then I went on and just said, hey, let me start putting some, plants in the ground and start seeing what I could do with that, with like lettuce and things. And a lot of it died when I first started, because I'm out in Nevada. So it was like the heat was getting it, but I just didn't give up, and I kept on going. So fast forward, when you educating yourself through just, gardening, you start seeing people that be like, oh, here's my chickens in the background. Yeah. And I was like, man, these people got all these chickens and stuff. And I started thinking like, man, it would be dope to have some eggs. You feel me? So I just really started like kind of looking at the education on there. And I told my wife, I was like, hey, I kind of want to do like some chickens. And she was down for it. So we said, screw it. So we went on and got the chickens. But what's funny is, we were afraid of chickens when we got them. Like, we wouldn't even pick them up. Like, we were scared to touch them. And one of them got pasty, and I could not pick that chicken up for the life of me. I was like, hey,
wow.
Hey. And then my wife got it, and then we got it going. So, yeah.
There it is.
Like 2 chicken to pick up a chicken.
That is a real old cluck moment right there. So was it baby chicks that had pasty butt, or they were kind of grown up? Like, you got to give me a little more details.
We went and got them from Tractor Supply, And we had went and got a coop from Tractor Supply. And a lot of people told us not to do it. They was like, oh, those coops are crap and blah, blah, blah. But for me, like, I'm no Tim Allen. You feel me? Like, I just got into trying to build stuff. So I figure if I started with a base, I could elaborate from that. And so that's what I did. We got the coop from Tractor Supply, but we had already had the little chicks. So we had them like in like a little storage container for a little bit. So I had made like a little brooder box for them. But yeah, we got the thing from Tractor Supply, and then we got a gang of pallets and made like a huge chicken run. So it's like 8 feet tall, and it's like, it's pretty big, and so, I mean, it's cool. Like we really enjoyed it. And we raised them from like, a couple days old or whatever Tractor Supply gets them up to now. So we have one laying, and I think the other ones are going to start soon. So we're really happy. We got about 15 eggs so far, so we like that.
I like that, man. When you got the devil's lettuce, you got to have a little something to eat on too. Get the munchies.
And they even eat the leaves from the devil's lettuce too. So we do a full cycle, and then we take the stems from the devil's lettuce and we compost that. You know what I mean? So it goes around full circle. And then now, this past Saturday, we got some goats.
Hey, man, welcome to Chicken Math. Midnight Bell for that. Welcome to Chicken Math, Mink.
Well, you gonna really laugh when you hear this. Saturday we got 3 goats. Sunday we went and got 1 more.
Of course. You have to.
You have to.
You got to make it a nice, even, round number.
Right. So
That's
it's pretty
cool.
dope, man. We're really enjoying this. Like, really enjoying it.
I'm really glad that you said, I want to circle back to when you said, you're not Tim Allen. You don't build things like that, but you wanted to start somewhere and you were able to do that. Prior to you getting into the grow game, had you had any experience prior to that? Or was it just, I want to learn how to do this and you got on YouTube and Google University or what?
Yep, I just basically so when it came to the lettuce, I'm very big on like researching. I went to homeschool for high school. My kids are homeschooled. Like I'm really big on being like resourceful. So I went and took a class called Cannabis Training University, and I'm not promoting them. I'm just saying this is the path I took. And for me, because I wanted to work in the industry and I didn't want to seem dumb when people ask me questions, because my background was fitness, so I was very skilled and educated, and that did very well there. So I just basically took the same attitude when I went into the cannabis industry, and I got my education through that. And then I started, but I wasn't growing at that time. I just got the education because I was getting into retail. And then once I got into the actual growing aspect of it, I had to start. I went through all kind of stuff with YouTube of learning things. And then I started my YouTube channel with cannabis. And so when I did that put me in a whole arena of people that I was able to like get education from and guidance. And I would host a morning show. So everybody would come in every morning and I would show them what I had going on. And, it worked out really well. So I was able to get education from them. But however, I will say more to like what you're asking. Like I didn't have experience with building or anything like that because we were renting our whole lives. So you don't really fix stuff when you just call up the landlord like, this ain't working, right? So
the sink broke. Come get it.
Come get it. Like I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? So now we own our land and it's a little bit over 1 acre. So everything is on me. So I've just been learning so much. Like I always make jokes like, man, I became a man in the last 6 months. I got so many tools. I literally I had like at first my tools was like a flathead, so don't go to nothing. I had a flathead and adjustable wrench and a tampon in my toolbox.
There you go.
Nothing else. So now though I got so much stuff and I've been learning, and a lot of the stuff I've made mistakes on, especially I just built that goat pen. I made a lot of mistakes, Yeah. But the good thing is I'm not going to leave a review for myself on Google. So
you live and you learn.
You know what I'm saying? So
you live and you learn.
Education building. So I encourage anybody just get into it, because if you don't, you'll never learn, and you'll learn most of your things. It's like anything. You have a person that goes to college, they learn all this stuff, and then they get to the job, and then they learn the job. Right. Yeah. So they learn nothing about the job in college
at all.
So you're going to learn your stuff from hands-on experience. A green thumb, all that is somebody that got mad body counts under they belt for killing plants. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't somebody.
And then finally got it right.
They finally got it right. It's not like they woke up like, man, my thumb feels right. I think PK. Oh, I think I know how to do it. No, they learned it from an elder, or they went and got education. And I'm really big on just go to the library, look in the category of what you want to do. And I'm really big on telling people to get books, because like YouTube works and helps, and TikToks and stuff, like it really works. But to me, this is just for me. It's more like motivation than education, right? So I'm more motivated when I see what you're doing, but you can't give me all the education in a 30-second clip. That's just impossible, So you want to get books, because then you'll have organized knowledge that can really set you on a path where you have a reference. Like I got a book, and it's an older book, and it's called Barnyard in Your Backyard. And it goes through like all the different, animals you would have in your backyard: sheep, goats, chickens, ducks, things of that sort. And it gives you anatomy. It gives you all the terms that you need. It teaches you how to, get them from babies all the way up to pasteurizing milk and making cheese. Like it really gives you like a good solid base and a good reference to go back and forth to. So I definitely tell anybody, like, don't shy away from the books and be so, I can only learn from videos. You're telling yourself that. So that's the only reason that you can only learn from videos. You're sticking to a character. But break character and pick up a book, and I guarantee you'd be like, dang, I'm learning some stuff here. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you feel way more confident going into it, especially with the chickens and goats, because you're dealing with life, you know. So
life,
mess up with life. And then you got, I got kids. I know you got kids. I got a, almost 4-year-old daughter. I'm not trying to have her go out there and see some death over a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like
trying to keep the experience as positive as possible and exciting for them as possible.
Spring has sprung, and guess what? That means chick season is here. So if you're looking to start your flock, add to your flock, or maybe add a few ducks, chickens, or geese, My Pet Chicken is the website for you. And if you're just getting started, they even have a tool to help pick the perfect poultry for your backyard flock. Check them out today at mypetchicken.com. Right now, you can get $10 off when you join the SMS Club. mypetchicken.com. Raise fun, happy, and healthy chickens from live poultry to coops and supplies. My Pet Chicken has everything you need to start, grow, and maintain your backyard flock. Shop today. mypetchicken.com.
Right. So, and death obviously comes along with life, but still, it's better if it's not made by error. You know what I mean?
Not my fault. It just happened. You're like, life happened.
Right. So,
death is part of life, and life can happen, but we don't want it to be because of negligence.
Exactly. You can always put more time into learning,
Absolutely.
So,
I love it, man. I love the whole story and the spill. I like that you said get into a book, and the only thing that may be stopping some people from getting to a book is say, I can only learn by video. Nah, I was like that too. And I was like, you know what? I went and got a book, and I don't remember the name of the book, but I know it told me exactly how to set my yard up with the type of animals we had and how to put them in their own, sections and places and what to look out for and everything like that. So it was very enlightening. So, man, I appreciate that information and just doubling down with that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then I also be thinking, man, from my community of how I grew up, you know what I'm saying? When I say my community, I don't mean black community. I don't believe in that. I believe communities are by interests more so. Yeah. And I'm talking about growing up in the hip hop community. Which a lot of people mistake as black community and black culture, but it's hip hop culture. But I grew up in a very hip hop culture. My background is music. Before anything, I did music from a child all the way up to now. And we were taught that cars was a flex, you know what I'm saying? And
shoes, cars, clothes, jewelry.
Yeah, all this BS. And I realized all right, you might think you dope because you got a car, but can you germinate a seed, player? You know what I'm saying? Can you milk an animal? Can you grow an animal up for your benefit, for sustainability, whether it's for meat, milk, packing? It don't even have to be that. It could just be trying to get rid of brush. Where's your original skill? And I really say that now when it comes to hip hop, and then you put, black in there, to be honest with you. And I think if you really look back in the day, agriculture was our jam, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. All the way down to slaves braiding rice and okra into their hair when they were starting the transatlantic slave trade, to make sure that they would guarantee to have food. So we got so far away from what our ancestors really, really, really paid attention to. And we got into this colonized material thing of this makes me feel like I'm X, Y, and Z, versus we're getting back to taking care of the land, being sustainable and things of that sort. And so those things kind of really started to hit me the deeper I got into it. And I started realizing wow, this is a little bit deeper than just hey, I got my own lettuce, it goes way deeper than that. Right. It's just so different for me now. And then when I learned about, how back in the day when our people were trying to start, farms and make money after slavery was over, they wouldn't give nobody any kind of loans or anything. Right. And then they would wait until the season was over to say, okay, I'll approve you for a loan now. And then we would go get the loan. But then the season was over, crops was dead, so we couldn't pay back the loan. So that's how they jacked our land back. You feel me? So when I started seeing these cycles, I was like, hey, man, I think we should really be focused on getting land and then doing something with it. Countertops and all that. I want the land, dude. So that's where the focus has been. So that's why I say if you start on a journey, it can move you to a place where you whoa, and you start getting I know you probably started with one thing, and next thing you know, you're dang, I never would have thought in a million years I would be thinking about this type of stuff, But it's really good to think about these things personally, is what I think,
Definitely, man. Like you said, I started out with 2 chickens. Now we have to 56 animals. I'm growing potatoes now. So we got aspirations to do apple and orange trees here. We just got to get this soil tested. So it's like you said, you start to get a different idea of what's important. Like I grew up in that same hip hop culture, and it's like, okay, to flex is like, how big is your chain? What kind of clothes do you have on? What do those shades look like? Now it's like, hey, I got goats. Like you said, when you jumped out, you like, I got 4 goats. I'm excited for you. Like, man, that's what's up. You about to start milking. What are we doing? What are we talking about? You breeding? Like, are you kidding? Yeah, man. So when I hear those types of stories and that type of growth in our community, and like you said, not just Black, it's just community of people that kind of focus on the same interests. Like we probably listen to the same music, like the same Jays, can argue about who's our favorite basketball players. You know what I mean? What movies did we see lately? But we're also talking about, hey, how can some of the skills you learn from growing your lettuce translate into growing yams or something else that you're growing into? And then you start doing the historical work too, and like, okay, this is what our people did before, you know what I mean? And this is where we need to get back to, because we were building our own sustainable situations.
Right. I totally agree. And I know exactly what you mean. And I think now too, we've gotten, and I'm not dissing any organizations when I make this comment, but we've gotten very focused on building empires of people that are focused on money. And it's happening mainly with real estate, to be honest. And everybody's talking about flipping houses.
Yeah.
And then they wake up tomorrow and be like, man, rent is through the roof. Well, yeah. Because you guys are now making a necessity for life a business. Yeah. And they've done the same thing with food. And so that's how I look at it, where I'm like, well, you got to be careful of what business you support. And a lot of people be mad at Disney because they might put something, or mad at a Miss Rachel character, right? But then they go and they support all of these people flipping houses, and they support all of these food companies that are making our foods for their lifestyle. Like all of our foods that you go in a grocery store, all of that is dependent on somebody wanting to keep a lifestyle. Plain and simple. None of those foods are there like, hey, man, we're going to make the human race like a better, healthier race. All that plant-based stuff, that's not like, oh, we made something healthier for you. It's that, hey, we found a chemical way to make it where you don't have to eat and feel guilty, right? So I feel like my goal is to go to the grocery store strictly for junk food. Like, that's my goal. Like, I only want to go there.
That's it, like a pleasure item.
Right. It's not a place that I'm supposed to be going to survive with my family. Like, it just doesn't even make sense when you think of it in the long run. You know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why I felt that this was a good thing to get into the sustainability of being able to grow, and then understanding, how to deal with the animals, whether we want to raise them for meat, whether we want to just raise them strictly for, cheeses and things of that sort. We've been thinking about the rabbits, for meat rabbits. And that's, and honestly, those things are further down the line for me. Like, I'm not going to be out there just like, next week, rabbits next, you feel me? But it's further down the line, but it
is a thought.
Yeah, to prep for these
things. This planet. Yeah. Because I definitely understand it. It's a great, no pun intended, rabbit hole to go down. You start with one thing, and then you like, I could do this. I could do that, and next thing you know, you've created a situation where you're sustaining your whole family and your household, maybe even your neighbors or your parents or extended family too, with what you're able to grow. Now you've gotten them excited about doing it too.
Yeah, because where we live, we do a lot of bartering. Like in my town, it's so much bartering. Like, we haven't bought eggs from the grocery store in months, dude. Like, we got, like, this weekend, my wife is cutting some basil, because we do a lot of indoor growing too. So I'll do like aeroponics and stuff. So I got like the tower garden. So we have all kind of stuff growing on that. We have all this basil. Basil goes crazy in those things. So she's chopping that to take to a lady to exchange for goat soap. Like, she uses her goat's milk to make soap. So we gonna barter that with like the basil, you feel me? So it's like really dope when you get in it and you get in that arena of people who are like, hey, let's barter. And it's something about that where it's so satisfying. Like, we bartered greens for eggs, and it's just amazing because you're like hooking each other up with what's needed. So I'll be up there like bagging up the basil. I'll dehydrate. I be feeling like a drug dealer. I be bagging my stuff. Listening like raindrops, drop. I be on it. You know what I mean? Because it's like fun, because it's kind of the same game. You feel me? Like, you flipping the stuff, because I'm trying to even get into flipping the seeds that I produce from my plants. So there's a lot of things that you can do to kind of like keep the stuff in rotation, you know, so you can barter it, flip it for money, like all kind of stuff. And then you can just bless people with it. Like, yo, put this over in there and let's start this over here with growing this, and just bless somebody with some seeds. So that's always dope too. So yeah.
I mean, it's better to have blessed than to get blessed and have mess. So like when you deal with, in the other side, like you said, if it may feel like that, but I don't have to worry about the police. I don't have to worry about somebody kicking in my door. I don't have to worry about so many things. And what I noticed too, because I'm coming from a hip hop background with doing entertainment with radio and everything like that, right? So when I go from that side of, even when it comes down to something as simple as social media, on the other side, on the chicken and agricultural side of social media, is so much more positive that I found. So much more helpful. Like the people in the comments, even, they're more helpful. They're more positive. They're more forthcoming with information that can actually help. Have you noticed that on your journey?
100%. Like, oh man, like especially like I love going to Tractor Supply now. You feel me?
Yeah.
Be at Tractor Supply, and I be on the aisle, and I got that look on my face.
Right.
There's always some lady standing there, and she's like, "What you looking for?"
Right.
And then I start telling her, and then they just start going, and it just be mad conversations about how to take care of them, and like, "Oh, here, you know what? Take my number." And it's like that. And so that's what's funny to me, because I live in a predominantly not black town. I'll just put it like that. Like there's like no black people on my block. Like if you see a black person, I always laugh, because every time I see a black person, they always say hi.
Right. It's like, are you coming to my house? Like, I get it.
They walk by 70 people and don't say a word, and they get by me and be like, they do their head. So it's like, it's one of those towns.
We've reached that part of the show where we hook you up with some insider information. And this time it's some egg side information. Y'all know what I mean. Because people ask me all the time, how do you get your chickens so fluffy and healthy and happy? And their eggs are so bright, beautiful, and they taste delicious too. I would love to dedicate all those things to me coming in and having a great time in that chicken coop every day and shaking it up with those ladies. But the fact is, it comes from a healthy and balanced diet of Purina's Laina. That's the brand we use. Whether you've got laying hens and you want to go with the Purina Laina plus omega-3, or you got a bunch of baby chicks running around in your brooder and you go with that Purina Start and Grow Crumble, you can't lose. I know we haven't. So visit their website today, and in 3 easy steps, you can get discount coupons for the Purina product that's right for some great nutrition for your animals. I did it myself, and it only took me about 2 minutes. It's absolutely worth it. And to make things easier, we have the hyperlink on our website, blackyardchickens.com. Just look under product of the month and you'll see the link right there to go and try your Purina Feed Greatness. And through their trial program, they can pair you with the right nutrition and let you try it with your animals and see the results. Now, I can tell you all day how Purina Feed Greatness has been absolutely phenomenal for my chickens, goats, ducks, and rabbits. But you can see for yourself. Go to blackyardchickens.com. Now let's get back to this week's adventure.
But it's so funny because, like, I have people out that's in my family, and they're like, "Oh, you out there with those X, Y, and Zers, you know, like their political parties, and you know, trying to say like I'm in a racist town." I'm like, shoot, all you got to do out here is say anything about a garden or livestock, and you're in the club.
It's over with, right? And it's not a compromising of who I am or my character. It's just I've mentioned something that piqued their interest, and now they can connect with me and I can connect with them. And that gets rid of so much of the BS, man. Like, say, I've met people that I thought I would never talk to or would ever talk to me or speak to me, like and I stay in Georgia. So it's even like you know what I mean? I'm in Georgia, and I'm in the outside of Atlanta. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I'm in Georgia. Atlanta, everybody sees on TV, Atlanta's Atlanta, but Georgia is Georgia.
I feel you. That's how I am to Vegas. It's like, I'm not in Vegas. I'm away from Vegas. So it's not what you see in Vegas. So I'm with you.
Yeah, you're the Wild Wild West. You know what I mean? So it's like,
right.
So when you I might be in Tractor Supply and pick up a bag of chicken feed or pick up something, and somebody's like, "Oh, you got chickens," and then we start to talk and have a conversation. Now we're exchanging information. So I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah. You pick up, so even like Home Depot, like I had never been to Home Depot so much until buying a house. Like, it's to the point when I get in my car and start the engine, my phone, like the map, it just says Home Depot 12 minutes away. I ain't even going there, fool.
I'm not going there, but do I need to? Right.
You start thinking, right? So I go in there, and then they're like, "Oh man, what you working on?" "Oh, I'm trying to do this for the chickens. I'm trying to do this for my garden." And then boom, that's that conversation right there.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what, man, you could do this for your flower beds and then get a torch and blah, blah, blah. So I learn a lot from different people, and it's so fun getting that connection. Like you say, it's people you never thought that you would like, dang, that's my group of people I talk to when I walk up to the farmer's market. Like there's like a group of all these old ladies, and they just be hooking us up with so much information. I'm like, wow, it's so crazy. So they had me growing, what was that? It was, it's like an artichoke. I can't think of the name of it right now.
They set you up with a new food source.
It was some new, and I was like, all right, and I threw it in the ground, and that joint started to grow. I was like, whoa. So it's cool, man. Like you just get to learn. I think it's how you say it breaks so many barriers. It's just like hip hop and music, period, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like music, it breaks a lot of barriers with a lot of people. You know, it's brought a lot of people together, and of course, it's divided people. But on a larger scale, it's brought a lot of people together. All kind of genres of music, whether it's rock, country, hip hop, it doesn't matter, R&B. And I feel like with this, it's the same thing. Like it just brings so many people together that, because you can only talk this language with certain people, you know, like you can't just walk up to an average circle of people and start talking about pasty butt. Like that's
right.
Not, like
they were like, wait a second, sir.
They be like,
feel sexually harassed right now. Talking about my baby chickens, man.
for real, they be on it, man. So it's just different. But like I say, I totally love it. I love I'm really big on seeking knowledge and applying it. Like I love that. And so I get a kick out of this, of seeking the knowledge and applying it. And I have somewhat of a procrastination personality. So this is helping fix that, you know.
There we go.
There's certain things you just can't okey doke on when there's things happening and there's other life that's depending on you. So my day automatically starts at 4, maybe 5 if I'm sleeping in, you know, and I get up and I start doing my little rounds of stuff, from taking care of the dogs to the backyard, making sure irrigation is set up, making sure nothing came and messed with any of our stuff, you know, like outside animals and stuff. So it's a lot of things that it's a new life, and it's a lot of things I've learned. Like I'm cold at putting like T-post fence up now, man. I used to.
Oh boy, yeah, I got my T-post fence poster, the little red thing. Yeah, man, I feel like a real farmer. Every time I do that, I feel like a grown man, dog. Like, you know what I mean?
For real.
I was gonna ask you about that too. I got to ask you 2 things. So first, when you first got your real drill, your real screw gun, picking it up and going, you know what I mean? How did that make you feel?
Dude, I did an actual, so when I did this, I was doing the YouTube video with it. And I was over feeling like Urkel. I'm like, damn, I'm like, yeah, baby. Like I was the man, dude. Like it felt so good. And like, especially I got an auger. And so I ran that in there for the post. I was like, yeah. So that was cool, man. Coming back in all dirty and stuff.
Right. You feel accomplished, and it might be the smallest thing. I think we added like 4 more T-posts to shore up a part of the fence that the horses, that the ponies were like rubbing up against. Okay, I put down 4 T-posts. You could have thought I built the Eiffel Tower that day.
For real,
and
dude.
that's just how I feel.
I'm the same, dude. I feel like I'd be like, man, like even yesterday. So obviously it's like hella hot out here. So we put like a sunshade over the chicken run. And we did it yesterday, and I was telling my wife, I said like 20 times, I'm like, man, I'm so glad we got out there and got that put up, you know. I felt like we just saved the world. Like, I was like, man, this saves us from having fried chicken out there, because it's hot.
Right, you have them little rotisserie chickens like at the grocery store. Let me put the shade up. But you felt good about it.
I felt really good about it, man. Like it makes you just feel good to get these things done, especially, you know. For me, like I say, I come from music, so I get a kick out of creating, you know? With this lifestyle, it helps bring out your creativity. Like a lot of people only think of like music and art and things like that for creativity, but building a chicken coop from scratch, a brooder, anything, if you got to quarantine something and you figure out a way, all that is creativity. And so it really, really like helps with that, like feed into my creativity cravings because of that, because I get to get creative with how I do stuff, you know what I mean? And it's just fun to do it. And when I'm done, I'm like, yeah, boy. Yep.
Like that song is finished. So like you just released a new single or a mixtape, and I understand it. And I think we kind of got the cheat code from that. If you coming from like a musical or creative background, you're going to use those skills when you're, like you said, building the chicken coop. Like we took dog shades that are supposed to be for a kennel and put them over the duck coop. We got them over the pigs. Nice. We got, so it's like, like you're going to start getting very creative with the things that you do,
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. Yeah.
Yeah. The other day I was putting the goat pen together before we got the goats, and I was trying to hang something out for me to hang their feeding thing on. And so I was like, man, how can I hang this up? And I'm walking up and down the aisles of Home Depot for like 30 minutes, just trying to figure out stuff, just looking to see if anything sparked my mind. And I didn't get any kind of idea. So I was like, I went with like a very simple idea. I was like, I'll just get a skinny stick and, kind of put it to the wall. So anyway, I get back home, and when I pull up to the house, my daughter's crib was leaned up against the garage that was already broken down. And I looked, and it was like,
that's it.
That was all I heard, man. Because then I see the little spring part for the crib, like the kind of like the box spring, but it's like a spring. I took that and I mounted it to the wall. So now I have it at different levels for the food tray. I just hook it into the actual springs, and it can go up and down as high or low as I need it to be. So I was like, oh yeah. So I felt like super accomplished on that. And so it just, like I say, it just makes you be creative, and you just get happy off of that little creativity. Like, oh hell yeah, I was able to figure out something, and I was able to upcycle at that, which is always really dope when you can just find some of your scraps around the yard and use that. So we've gotten to a point where we just buy extra stuff for no reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I saw somebody selling pallets. We bought like 40 something pallets for like $100. And the dude delivered them and unloaded them too.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like, yeah. So then he was like, I got fencing too, and this and that. And he was like 40 or $70. And he gave us so much just random, like cattle fencing, chicken wire, like iron gates. He just brought all kind of stuff. I've been using it for days, man. I've been using it like crazy. So now we just buy random stuff. Like, we'll have a use for it at some point. I guarantee it.
We've reached that part of the show where we hook you up with some insider information. And this week, it's all about eating, pet, and pasture. And I got a 20% discount code for you. As farmers, we know the love and care it takes to raise happy and healthy animals. So choose the best when it comes to bedding, premium cut Timothy hay, and treats for your furry and feathery friends. So if you're looking for super absorbent hemp bedding or nesting pads for your laying ladies, look no further than Eaton Pet and Pasture. Check them out right now at EatonPetAndPasture.com, and first-time shoppers get a 20% discount by typing in Reece at checkout. That's REEC at checkout. Now let's get back to another excellent adventure.
But you really will, man. That's what we use. We end up getting these pallets, so we use pallets for a walkway to create like a patio walkway from the house down to where the animals are, because it was like a mud path. Now we don't have to worry about the mud, so it's like all of those things, they come in handy. They get very useful very fast.
You just sparked my brain on that.
See, there we go. You got those pallets.
Get out there. Right, because we got a little ways before we get there, because it's like we have the house and then it's separated where it's like just trees and the dogs hang out, and then there's a gate, and then all the livestock is back there with the garden. So we need a little way to get out there, because like you said, it'd be raining and stuff, and it'd be all muddy everywhere. So yeah, and
then you can get like the little fake turf from, like, we got a store called Ollie's here, or even Tractor Supply. Sometimes they have the the real thin, not expensive fake grass or fake turf, or that green carpet from Home Depot that's super cheap.
I know what
that's for outdoor. You just run that on top of the pallets like a little walkway, man.
Oh, that'd be dope. I think we're gonna do that. I'll probably put like a little fence to it too, so the dogs can't be. There you go. Brain going now.
There you go. Look at us collaborating on a song per se. There we go. So I know you mentioned earlier you come from the fitness world too, and I know fitness definitely helps with like mental health and more things than just getting your body right. But how is that also in conjunction with doing that agriculture thing, getting your hands in the ground, and also caring for these animals? Do you see the benefits too with that when it comes to the mental health side?
Oh, absolutely. You're saying like the care that I have to put into the animals and everything. Like, does that help mentally? Yeah. Definitely. I feel that, I guess the best way to describe it is like what you would think a person gets from doing bonsai. Like, I put some music on, I'm in my vibe, and usually I'm listening to uplifting music. So that's already, acronym in itself, not acronym, but you know what I mean? Affirmation is what I meant to say. It's like self-affirmation in itself, just listening to positive music. And I'm just in my vibe. And sometimes when I'm out there by myself, yes, it's like you just alone with your thoughts. I get to listen to different podcasts from different people that I look up to. And it really helps like calm you out. And then it's also physical work. Like that's the other dope thing about it. So if for some reason I don't get to work out that day, I don't feel too bad because I'm like, well, man, I just moved like 60, 50-pound bags of cement.
Right.
And, know, and then I'm in a low squat for like 30 minutes of the day total with doing all this stuff low and whatnot. So, I mean, I think it's really good for mental, but I think it's also good for physical, you know, just because it makes you do movements that most people don't do when they go to the gym. Most people, when they work out, act like they're a bodybuilder, like isolating biceps, and that's ridiculous. So when you're out on the farm, you're doing movements that the gym just doesn't provide for most people, right? So I think it's really cool. And I think, though, I will say people who do gardening, I still feel it's good to work out because I hear a lot of people say like, oh, I don't work out, I do gardening, come to the garden, it's enough. The body does have muscle memory. Okay, so it's going to get used to what you're doing in the garden every day. It's going to get used to it. So you're going to have to do some type of other exercise and movement to kind of trick the body up to give it a little bit of muscle confusion and just to help from a cardiovascular standpoint of view. So I don't feel like the garden should replace the gym, and I definitely don't feel the gym should replace, you know, the garden or livestock. I think it should go hand in hand. And also remember, working out isn't always lifting weights. Sometimes it could just be you go and stretch. You feel me? Like we're doing all this working out and outside with these animals, but we're not stretching ourselves out, and it's easy to pull muscles and tear ligaments and all kind of stuff, twist body parts the wrong way when you're dealing with livestock because they're so, you know, they do things on when they feel like it. So when it runs this way and makes you twist a certain way, it'll get you. You know what I mean? Like I remember one time we used to live in the mountains, and I'm walking down some steps, and it was like icy, and I had 2 dogs on the end of this leash. It was like a bully pit bull and a husky mixed with bully pit. So they were very huge dogs. Yeah. And I'm walking, and I slipped on the ice. And when I got airborne, the dogs took off running with me in the air. It was like a cartoon.
Like a cartoon.
And I just hit the steps all the way down to the bottom. And I jumped up like, whoo! And my wife was laughing so hard. But I say that to say animals would catch your butt off guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
You got to be physically fit to be able to take some of those off guard catch, because if our bodies get hurt, you know, those animals depend on us to be there for them. And we might have family members, but I'm sure you have a way that you like doing stuff just like I do. So you probably do a lot of the work. Yeah. In your mind, you have your system and your habits and your ways of doing it. So, you know, we still got to keep our bodies healthy. So I just say, you know, even if it's not going to the gym per se to work out, you know, you can still take 30 minutes, stretch and things of that sort. I think it's a really good thing to, you know, just kind of make it go hand in hand. That's all.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great advice, man. We appreciate that because you're talking about challenges. I also want to bring up you're in Nevada, and I know that can bring a certain set of challenges as well. So I know it's hot as a mug out there right now. Like you said, you just put some shade up for the chicken run. Are there any specific challenges that you guys have to deal with weather or predators that you got to kind of watch out for?
For livestock, obviously snakes and coyotes are like a big thing. And then like rats and mice and stuff, you know, but the main thing would be like the snakes and coyotes from what I've experienced. Oh, and air predators, you know, just hawks and whatnot, like they be on it. And then as far as like the gardening aspect, you got high winds, obviously the heat, and then there's like a lot of insects. Like the insects will just eat your stuff up like there's no tomorrow. Like I'm at a point where I'm like, man, I might as well just put some ranch dressing out there for them too, so they can have a full meal, man.
Right, season it up for them.
Right, I'm like, you can have it, like just take it. So my thing now is during the summer, I do nothing that has to do with leafy greens. All that stuff is done indoors because you get them leaf hoppers, especially, and they'll get out there and just put white stuff all over. It's just like a powdery. It just looks, it's like powdery. It's crazy. So we be out there wiping it, and it just takes a lot of time, dude. So during the summertime, we kind of just more so I'm like, man, I'm gonna just do it easier, just do it indoors. It's way less of a headache, like way less of a headache. And then what we're gonna do is because when we bought this property, we bought it in September of last year, and first thing we did was went to Star Nursery and bought all kind of plants, especially because it was the end of the season, so they was all on sale for like 48 cents, $1. So we bought a gang of stuff and we threw it out there at the end of September, beginning October, and it produced like crazy. It was like, I mean, I'm talking huge kale leaves. Like, it looked like Jumanji out there, dude. Like, I was like, whoa. I was like, I hear the drums every time I come out. Just It was dope.
It's like you're really in the movie.
I'm telling you, I loved it. And then the summer came, or the spring came, and it started getting a little shaky. And then summer to me, summer starts here like in like the end of May. So it was like everything was eating it. So yeah, we got huge issues with that. But really that rain is like really crazy. And then around here where I'm at, we got what's called poof dirt. So it's like stuff be sinking in and it get like super muddy in certain areas. But the main like elements I would say for gardening would be heat, insects, and then for livestock would be heat, and then also the snakes and the coyotes and whatnot, and the air predators. They be out there. I don't really see raccoons out here, to be honest. I don't really see raccoons, but also the way it is, like everybody around here has like an acre minimum. So like a predator has to go through a lot, like especially a coyote has to go through a lot to get to the back to get to the chickens. It got to go through all kind of fences and dogs. And usually coyotes, especially if they're not in a pack, they're not really looking for a fight. So it kind of helps to keep it the way it kind of helps the way everything is set up. And I haven't seen any packs because I go out and do my trails on my bike, and I'll see coyotes, but I never see them like in packs. So not saying they don't roll like that, but I don't really be seeing them like that.
Man, that's cool. We appreciate that information, man. Because I know we do have some listeners out there that may be like, okay, yeah, I might need to stop growing in the summer too because of that. You know what I mean? So that's really dope, man.
I try to make it stay fun. I'm sorry, go for it.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I just try to make it fun. I try not to set myself up in a situation where it's stressful, because that wasn't the goal when I started growing.
Right.
So I'm like, man, why am I so stressed? So like even growing the devil's lettuce, I don't do it indoors anymore like that. Like I used to do it indoors. And now I put a plant outside and was like, oh, I'll probably never go indoors again. I'll grow like in my living room. It's just a plant just sitting out just like every other plant. And because I'll use an autoflower so it doesn't need that photosynthesis. But with doing them like intense, like now, it's like how Bruce Almighty, remember when Bruce Almighty, he became God and he just got tired and stressed out, like, man, this is a lot of work being God. And that to me is what it's like for me personally growing indoors, because you got to be God. You got to get the temperatures right. You got to get humidity right. You got to get airflow right. Like all of these things take
creating the atmosphere.
And especially being out here fighting like the heat and all this stuff. And the humidity out here in Nevada is horrible. It's like you don't have any really. So it's like it sucks for a lot of that. So I was like, dude, I'm gonna just see what happens if I throw something outside, man. So I put something outside, and I think I got like 150 grams off of one plant. So I was like, okay. Wow. And that was like not even like purposely done. I did that like later in the grow. I was like, I'm just put this outside. So now when the fall comes around, I'm gonna put an abundance outside of plants, and then it'll supply me out, and I'll be good. But yeah, I try to make it where it's not stressful. So if it's too stressful to grow in the summer, don't grow that stuff in the summer. Like do it on another season, and just try doing hydroponic indoor during the summer. Now I will give a tip real quick, because I know you had another question. I'm gonna give a tip for doing outdoor hot. Like if you out in hot. This helped me. Some people might be like, I can only talk from my experience. This ain't what I heard. This is what I've done.
Okay.
Do the cracky method. What the cracky method is, it's a hydroponic style of growing, but it doesn't require any electricity. So my goal for everything is to be able to live off grid. So I'm really trying to do things that, eliminate other things, outside resources. Right. So what happens with this cracky method is, let's say you have a jar. I'll just say that you have a jar of water. You have your plant in the top, right? And the roots are at the bottom. You put the water in there when it's young, and let the water start to drain down. And as that water drains down, the plant is obviously drinking it. Just refill it, but only halfway. leave half of the roots out so the roots have air going through them. So now you don't have to do like hydroponics when the water's all the way up. You have an air stone to get the oxygen to the roots. If you have the roots out exposed in the jar, not that, make sure the jar is dark though. It's not like, so the sun isn't messing with the roots, but it'll get air to it, and it's going to have air in the water. So you only fill the bottle up halfway. So I've done that with like storage bins, and I just fill it up, and then as the plant is growing, the water is going down, and those roots stayed nice and beautiful. They were white, and it was like an eggplant, and I never had to worry about the sun getting to like messing it up because the roots were always had access to water, but it wasn't like drowning them. It wasn't no algae in there, like all the things. So when I posted it online, I got so many people. Everybody wants to tell you what's going to go wrong with your life, right? No one wants to give you a tip. They just want to tell you what's going to go wrong.
Oh, you're going to have algae everywhere.
That's what they try to, that's never going to work because blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, all right, for sure, as I eat an eggplant, right? So it's like, I don't let other people put monsters under my bed. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm going to be afraid of something, it's because I don't want to do it, or I've had an experience, but I'm not going to let someone else, within reason with certain things, but I'm not going to let someone else have a fear of trying something, especially as dumb as growing plant. Like, I'm gonna have to be scared because you said it online. So, but trust me, it worked for me. So I say try it out, but when the water goes down, don't fill it all the way up. Just fill it halfway up so those roots are still out of that water. Make sure whatever the roots are in, it's dark. So if it's a jar, put a sleeve over it. You can paint it. Like we did this with 1 gallon water bottles with the kids, and we painted them up and stuff because my kids are homeschooled. So it was like, man, here's an activity.
Sounds like a project, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, cool. So we did that and threw like some beans in them. So yeah, it's cool. But just thought I'd throw that little tip out for people that's growing in like really hot areas. The cracky method definitely works.
I know, when you said cracky, I got scared. I ain't gonna lie, bro. But I got you now. Half the water, more of the produce.
You gotta approach the plants like a cracky. You got like, transmission here.
I know a cracky that can fix a transmission with a toothpick. So, you know what I mean? I ain't know where you was going with that, but I got you. Talk to me about this, man, because like that, I'm sure you got from somewhere, maybe from a book or something. But what's something you borrowed lately? Like, I know I borrowed something lately with what I put down in my duck pen. We put some artificial grass in the duck pen, and now I don't have to worry about them making mud every day. It's just a spray down once a week now, which has made life so much easier having ducks. Tell me something that you may have borrowed that you're using now.
Okay, what I'm about to borrow today is I saw it online. I don't remember whose IG it was, so I'm sorry I can't shout out the page. I'm not trying to jack you like that, but it was somebody saying where basically what they did was got the type of pans you would put turkeys in, like for Thanksgiving, for cooking them, and they put some bricks in there and put water, like ice water, and it was, so the chickens were able to stand in that and cool their feet. Because at first I was going to do that. I saw someone else's video, they did it with a kiddie pool, but I figured when I saw this other one with the turkey pan, that's easier to empty every day versus a kiddie pool. So I was like, I'll go with the smaller one. So I'm a jack that one and be like, okay, let's put the stuff in there. And somebody else also, I want to say it might have been a girl's name. It was like Pure Chickens or Purely Chickens or something. But she
that's right, Nikki.
Okay, I think she
that is Purely
like
Chickens,
some ice and threw some veggies in there and stuff, and then puts it in a bucket and lets the chickens peck at that, and it helps cool them down, gives them something to do, and this and that. So yeah, I'm gonna jack those two things.
What's up? Shout out to Purely Chicken. She was on last week, so she's on a previous episode. So make sure you guys check out that episode. So that's dope. That's definitely dope, man. So we're gonna steal that from you. We're gonna make us some little turkey pan chicken feet coolers, and we're gonna have it going.
Right. And another thing I'm gonna do too is because I saw like they were like freezing a big old thing of water in like plastic bags with the veggies in them, right? So what I'm gonna do is I have like a silicone bowl almost, but it's for the air fryer, so you can put it in the air fryer. So that I'm gonna just put water in that with the veggies and freeze that, because then it's huge, like a huge brick. And now I don't have to waste the plastic bags, because the lady was like, I'm trying to figure out another way to not have to waste these bags. So that had my mind thinking too, and I'm like, you know what, just use this big old silicone bowl that you have for the air fryer and just make a big old brick of ice with veggies in it or fruit or something, and then throw it out there. So I'm a rock like that to get a
you could do that with the old school ice cube trays too. Like get them, fill them up with water, throw some peas and corn, not corn because corn heats up chicken, but peas and different things in there and do the same thing, man. So that's definitely a dope idea, and that's why you're not, like you said, wasting those plastic bags.
Right. Make it a little easier.
Right, for sure, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. We've had a blast, bro. It's been the quickest 45 minutes of all time.
Dang, it's 45. Yeah, that was quick. That was
absolutely,
quick.
man. Tell everybody where to like find you and follow you at and check out your story at.
Yeah, definitely. You can find me on IG at CribStead_IG. So it's Crib and Stead. So we mixed it up. It was like Cribs,
like
MTV Cribs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we took the hip hop and mixed it with the farm. And then on TikTok is where I'm really, really putting a lot of effort in right now. If you just look up CribStead, just one word, you'll find me over there. I'm really putting effort into trying to grow my TikTok. And then on YouTube, it's CribStead as well. So it's probably CribStead with Can of Mink. But yeah,
okay, cool.
So yeah, you'll see me on there. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on here, and I appreciate what you just do for like just the farming community, period, and for people that have like a swag like us. You know what I'm saying? And I really try to keep it off of a racial thing because I really mean it's personality. Like,
yeah, it is.
I find people's stuff that's a personality identifier for me, and I'm like, oh, I like that cat's personality. And then I start seeing what you're doing. I'm like, man, you got the radio show. You also do the education stuff for the kids, which I think is super duper 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 dope. Because that's what will spark the interest of a lot of young people to even care about these animals or even think about these animals or even think, hey, you know what? I can have one of these at the crib. Okay. Because I didn't know that. I thought exotic animals stopped at pit bulls when I was a kid. So
me too.
I didn't know
right.
that we could have all this when we get older. And I'm like, what? So I think what you're doing is a good like example for any kid that could be thinking like, man, I want to have this type of life, to let them know that it's 100% possible, because you and I are both living proof of it. Like you can 100% have this type of life and have a life of being around the animals, and you basically be like a modern day Noah, you know what I mean, but in your backyard and stuff. So that I appreciate what you're doing. Like seriously, man.
Nah, man, I appreciate that. Thank you. And like I said, this Eggcellent Adventures is about giving you guys flowers, letting people hear your story so more people can see what you're doing, hopefully get inspired, get outside and do more. So, man, appreciate you once again.
Awesome, man. I'll holler at you, man.
For sure. It's been another Eggcellent Adventures. Catch the next episode across all social media, all podcast platforms. Wherever you listen to it, we're there. See you next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Eggcellent Adventures, powered by Blackyard Chickens. Now, if you think you want to raise your own backyard flock, here's the site for you, blackyardchickens.com. We make entertaining videos about raising baby chicks from scratch. You know what I mean by from scratch, right? Or maybe you want to learn how to take care of your own big chickens or hens and get those fresh eggs, building a coop or buying a coop, having the necessary things inside that coop to get great egg production. You'll learn a lot of the neat tricks I've picked up along the way from other chicken enthusiasts, and you can get pretty eggs just like those. So follow us on social media and check us out on our YouTube channel.